We are live, SMT Nation, May 18th, 2022. It's the SMT. It's Dennis. Dennis, what's up, man?
Not too much, just enjoying a very busy week. Lots of news going on, specifically with T-Mobile deciding to stick with Nokia and Ericsson, and we got some customer satisfaction ratings in.
Yeah, how do you think the big carriers did, man? You think they're holding up, or do you think some other smaller carriers are getting involved here?
I think that the big carriers are somewhat sticking around what telecom typically sticks around, and that there's a lot of room for improvement from the smaller providers to kind of take the crown for offering great customer service.
Good stuff, Dennis. I think what we'll do is we'll kind of dissect how they did. We'll compare them to the MVNOs. We'll look at some of those smaller carriers. And also, we're going to be talking about the network decisions that T-Mobile has made. They're sticking to their guns. They're taking, I guess the saying goes that you dance with the one you took to the dance, right? So they're rolling with a couple of vendors, and they're not really going to deviate from that. And then the last thing we'll do is I've got a bit of an update for you guys on AT&T C-band N77, and it's a doozy. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy about this. Dennis, you're going to be thrilled. And I think actually once you kind of see it, you get a taste of it in Pittsburgh, it'll probably put a smile on your face, man.
Well, I already got a smile on my face because I got an invite for Dish.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Any idea of when you'll be doing any testing, get some access?
I have no clue. I'm
All right,
gonna
so that's going to
guess
be the follow-up,
months.
I suppose, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. We'll be following up on that, and I hopefully I can get some of that access soon. Big shout out to Tech Guy 32, Andrew, and Baby Yoda for being here. The first ongoers. Oh, Josh also got an invite from Dish. That's cool. All right, so we'll be on the lookout, guys. Let's start with the first story here. We're a couple minutes in. We got 56 on the live. Welcome to the show, everyone. Hashtag 2LiveCrew and then hashtag replay crew for everybody watching this after. Virtual carriers are beating out the big three. AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon are lagging the MVNOs. Any surprise by this headline, Dennis?
None at all.
Okay. It's the American Consumer Satisfaction Index. They say the happiest wireless customers are those that are on MVNOs. All right, so this is actually, I think, a company. They've been around forever, like multiple decades, I suppose, and they probably measure all types of consumer satisfaction measures. So it's not just telco. They probably do a lot of different stuff. They probably do pharmacies and different types of grocery stores. Walmart. I bet you they do everything. But here is the breakdown from the big three. There's a couple ways you can look at this, Dennis. You got the 2020 numbers, or excuse me, 21 numbers, and then you have the 22 numbers. So you could see if a carrier is getting better or if they're getting worse, and then how they compare to each other. So if you look year over year, 21 to 22, they're flat. There's no change. As an average, 73. T-Mobile improved by 2 percentage points year over year. AT&T dropped by 1%. Verizon dropped by 1%. And then US Cellular improved by 2%. So that's how they worked. And they're all pretty close, though. Like T-Mobile at 74, AT&T and Verizon both at 73. Not much you can really take away from that. Do you agree, Dennis?
Yeah, I think the takeaway is just kind of what I said before, which is pretty much all of telecom has bad customer service.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got their nightmare story, right?
I think one takeaway, and it's something you skipped over, though, that did shock me, was the fact that Straight Talk came far and away as far as customer service went. It was slightly above that.
Before we go down to the MVNOs, which is, like you were saying, I know about your previous experience. You mentioned it on a previous show. But something to note here is these MNOs, the big carriers, they serve the most people, so you're most likely going to get the largest number of disgruntled customers. What I would kind of want to know, though, is what were the measures of a satisfied customer? Like, how did they exactly do this? They sent people surveys, people responded to the surveys. Like, is it, oh, yeah, I had a really good customer care interaction, or, yeah, I'm really happy with my service. It works well, and, it always stays connected. Or is it like, well, I have a great value in my plan, I feel like I really do get what I'm paying for, because I think customer satisfaction includes a lot of those things. It isn't just when I call and I speak to a customer care rep. It's a lot of other stuff too. How do you kind of see that metric of what customer satisfaction should be?
Well, I think a big one that would have impacted this, since this is happening kind of like over the pandemic, is, man, I'm behind on my bills because I lost my job. What did this company do for me to help me? You know?
Yeah. The scale goes from 0 to 100. So that kind of gives you an idea of what this all means. Scrolling down here to the MVNOs, which Dennis did allude to, they scored a 73 last year. They scored a 73 this year. Same thing as the mobile network operators. So essentially, Dennis, you can have, I guess, I don't know if you would even call it really a lesser carrier. You can have an MVNO or a prepaid carrier and still be satisfied based on these metrics, man.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay big bucks on postpaid to get a good carrier, apparently.
Yeah, basically all the scores are kind of in line. I mean, there's a couple that are lower, like Boost.
Okay, Optimum scoring a 77 is crazy. They
Why?
must not have a lot of customers, because I hear really bad things about Altice and Optimum Home Wireless home services.
Yeah, but remember, Optimum Mobile, just like Xfinity Mobile, it might be owned by the same company, but it's like there's two different types of customer care you get, right? Like, you don't get routed to the same department. Like, you get like a special department of people that just handle only the cell phone related issues. Even down to the calling. Like like Sneed, you'll know this if you end up dialing 611, but if you call 611 on the Xfinity Mobile sim that I sent you, you get routed straight to Xfinity Mobile support. If you call 1-800 Xfinity, you get the cable and like that kind of stuff. It's almost like it's two
Yeah,
different things.
got you. It's like its own department. All right. Well, we got the Optimum leading the way here. Apparently, Cricket improved from 75 to 76, and that's probably available to everyone, right? Optimum Mobile, you'd have to be an Optimum customer. Then you have Xfinity Mobile coming in at 76, so that's a good score. But they dropped from 78, so that's a little concerning. Metro flat at 74, Spectrum 75 to 74, and Boost Mobile the lowest at 71, which is still the same as US Cellular's score. Okay, so I don't know. That's kind of how they round out there. But my takeaway is it just all depends. There's no particular rhyme or reason why full service MVNO, and I don't know why US Mobile's not in there, Dennis. I know some people were asking about that.
And
I,
Mint.
and Mint, yeah, those are good mentions. I would like to have seen how they did, because I think historically those two people speak pretty highly of them. They feel pretty good about what they're doing there. Here is some of the value MVNOs. And again, I don't see, those two. It would have been nice to have seen Mint and also US Mobile, but we got Consumer Cellular at 78. They're taking care of the consumer base. I think that's the highest rating of any company. Straight Talk at 76, man. Was that the one that you said you had a rough experience with?
Yeah, all Straight Talk and all of its subsidiaries, the TracFone also would fall in that category.
Yeah, you got Straight Talk and TracFone coming in at 76. Walmart Family Mobile at 74. They showed the greatest increase from 69 to 74. Simple Mobile 73, Total at 73, then SafeLink Assurance and QLink rounding things out. I don't even know what QLink is.
It's like a government. It was a government thing.
Okay. Well, apparently it's Consumer Cellular, Optimum Mobile, and T-Mobile for the win. That's what
Yeah.
we got, Dennis.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you put much stock into this report?
Oh God, no.
Okay, see,
I mean,
me neither. Right.
I love Sasha Segan, but customer service is so subjective. And I mean, I know there's like NPS metrics and stuff like that, but like, I know this is going to sound a little messed up to say, but I don't generally just trust like random consumers to rate their satisfaction with a carrier, both in an unfair or fair way, because you're going to have people that rate the MNOs lower because they got their service shut off because their bill didn't get paid, and they're upset about that, right? And
Yeah.
you're gonna have other people that are, showing a lot of favoritism to some MNO because they got like 10 free lines with T-Mobile, and that impacts how they actually rate the customer service experience because they're paying like nothing for 10 lines. You know what I mean? Whereas I think you need like hardcore metrics that can actually be measured. And when it comes to customer service, it's all opinionated. There's not like hard measurements that are constant across the different carriers.
I mean, the other piece of that is like you get a knowledgeable rep and they rock your world. They know how to apply all, things to the system, and they know how to solve your problems and navigate these, subsystems, and things magically happen quickly. Then you get yourself someone who's new or maybe not properly trained with all the little ins and outs, and you're getting the run around, and it's all rigmarole and all this other stuff, and you're just left with a bad experience and more
Well, I
likely to
think
churn and leave and all of that.
I think another thing to say is, and I know this is going to sound messed up saying, but I think your customer service experience greatly depends on you as a person. Like, if you're the type of person that starts getting mad and swearing and being
Off
irate,
the rip, Dennis, you're
yeah,
100% right. Like when you bring that energy off the beginning, you're gonna be, things are gonna get very contentious. You start to see confrontation, and I think it's a turnoff to the rep who is obviously coming in, and like 9 times out of 10, the customer care rep is coming in with a clean slate with you, right? Like they don't know you from anyone, so like they're starting from scratch. You can come in with the right energy and having self control and respect, or you could take it the other way, rub them the wrong way, and then it's going to be all downhill from there.
because like the thing with customer service too is it really is a team effort, because especially if you're doing like like if it's like a phone call, because that rep can only respond as good as the information that's coming in. Like if you're having problems setting up a phone or something, and you're not telling them what's on the screen or whatever, and you're just click clacking away, and you're getting upset because they're not helping you, or you don't know your Google password, right?
Right.
Like there's just things that are outside the control. I just try to give the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I mean, there's straight up egregiousness, like T-Mobile switching my plan to Essentials. Like there is egregious scenarios. Trust me, I have experienced them and I've complained about them. But when it comes to broad metrics like this, it's just hard for me to know without knowing what the methodology is. And generally speaking, there's not too much public information that goes over the methodology when it comes to like NPS scores and stuff.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I don't let one person dictate how I feel about a company. Preconceived notions and one person's experience doesn't match the usual or the more common. But sometimes as the stories build up and the people complain and the voices get loud, and Reddit and YouTube and all and social media and Twitter, like a reputation can be built off of bad incidents. You know what I mean? So some of that stuff I think is just inevitable. A bad company is going to be exposed.
Well, let's change gears. Let's talk about something that's more in our realm.
All
T-Mobile
right.
pledging an allegiance to Nokia and Ericsson.
All right, man. I'm telling you, Dennis, this made me sad, bro. It made me like,
Why?
man. All right. So this has to do with the Cleveland market specifically. I am in a Nokia market. All three carriers used to run Nokia here, including Verizon. They have since switched over to Samsung for all their millimeter wave and all of their 3 gigahertz stuff, all the radio gear, antennas, radios, the whole shebang. T-Mobile is Nokia. They're still Nokia. They're going to stay Nokia here. I've heard no news about them going Ericsson here. Same thing for AT&T. They are also Nokia. No news of them moving anywhere else in terms of Ericsson or Samsung. T-Mobile also not going Samsung. So Verizon is going with Samsung for a lot of stuff. And in my opinion, in the hierarchy, I think Ericsson is the gold standard of 5G radio gear. And I think Samsung is number 2. I think Ericsson and Samsung are far apart, though. Like, Ericsson's way out ahead. If I had to rate them, I'd give them a 9. I'd give Samsung a 8. And I'd give Nokia a 6 or a 7. That's been my experience with Nokia gear. From AT&T, from T-Mobile, and from the old Verizon. The old Verizon Nokia gear was horrible. I'm talking like I would rate it like a 5. Like it's just it hasn't been good in my experience. I've tested it for all the carriers and I just don't like it. So to comment more on this, T-Mobile's president of network technology, Neville Ray, was at this 5G event in Austin, and he was talking about, what they're going to be doing with their vendors, those that manufacture the radio gear. And people just probably want to know, who they're going to be using for the radio gear, because they want to know if it's going to be more of the same or if they're going to be trying something else, because there's answers, there's little hints when you learn about those things. So for example, Dennis, if we found out that T-Mobile had a deal with Samsung, we'd know that O-RAN would be very close, because Samsung is kind of like the cutting edge or the bleeding edge of O-RAN. And I think that's part of the reason why Verizon went with Samsung, was to get out ahead of this whole O-RAN thing. Virtualizing the network with the radio gear and compatibility and interoperability and saving money and all of that. So what T-Mobile essentially is saying here, we're going to keep using Nokia. We're going to keep using Ericsson. I think they are using Ericsson a little bit more than Nokia. I know some of the markets in like Florida and other places are starting to see conversions from Nokia to Ericsson. But this is why I'm sad. This is an indication that they're just going to be doing more of the same, which means more Nokia, more Ericsson, and no Samsung, which means I'm stuck with Nokia in my market. And that's why I'm sad.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just put it this way. There are worse options than Nokia. There are worse options than Nokia out there, Sneed. Like, you could be
Such as?
well, Dish is using that one. I think it starts with an H. Help me.
Oh, JMA.
Yeah, JMA.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put that below Nokia. I mean, Nokia is a pretty established brand in the wireless space.
They got Fujitsu radios. They got the JMA antennas.
And I was also going to say, and Josh kind of pointed this out, Nokia has been doing fine for AT&T. Now, granted, it's not 5G gear, to be fair, but I don't know, man. To me, I look at it this way. Nokia, Ericsson, and Samsung, in my eyes, are all well-established companies, and I do have faith in their products. If there is something wrong with the Nokia gear, I'm sure Nokia will fix it, type of deal. That's kind of like my sentiment at the moment. That, and plus, I don't know. Like, I live in a Samsung market. You confirm Verizon using Samsung out here, and to me, it's fine. Like, I haven't noticed that. You were impressed by the range, It seemed like it was okay.
Eliashki Sneed, is Nokia site still total crap? I don't know, man. It kind of depends on the radios that are going with it, like what it's going to be broadcasting in terms of the frequencies. I feel like the Nokia mmWave is really bad.
I can agree with you on the
sub 6 gigahertz is a little better.
Yeah, I can agree with you on the mmWave. mmWave, I'll agree with you on. Sub 6 gigahertz, not so much. That's where I disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly there's a difference there. Yeah, and also mentioned here from Tech Guy 32 pricing, 100%. The Nokia is probably giving them a sweet deal. Like,
And
I'm not even
supply.
joking. I bet you some of the radios and the antennas are coming in for free of cost.
Well, dude, it has to be supply too. I mean, if supply is still constrained and no one wants to use Nokia, then I'm sure Nokia has plenty of supply. And for T-Mobile, that's a good thing, because right now, T-Mobile's only focus should just be getting N41 as many sites as possible and not being picky at the moment.
Yeah. I didn't want to spend too much time on this, only because it's not really that big of a deal. But it does go to show you, I think, this is very telling that T-Mobile's not even close to doing anything O-RAN or vRAN. They're probably
2 years out.
I'd say at least through this year, we won't hear a peep about O-RAN. We might start hearing peeps of it Q1 next year, and who knows? Maybe you're right, Dennis. We may not see anything solidify or catch traction for maybe through next year.
But let's do one more quick topic change really quickly, and that's the AT&T topic that you had.
Oh, man, Dennis, you want to see something slick?
I do.
I want to share a screenshot with you guys, and in this particular screenshot, the most important thing I want to emphasize, and let me do the super chats too, since these guys just popped in with them. I'm going to be sharing my Twitter with you guys, and if you are interested in following me on Twitter and you want to kind of like, extend your reach into the community, I've got a link to my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me there and some of the stuff I post. So, first of all, big shout out to Gellert, the homie. Gabe, appreciate you, man. Hey, Sneed. Hey, Dennis. How are y'all? We are excellent. Dennis, I know you are excellent, right?
100%.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the super chat. And let's see here. We got one from Darian. Have you seen more C-band sites for AT&T? You betcha, sir. Got one on the screen. Nice, nice test, actually. So I'm going to share these with you guys. Big shout out to Darian and Gabe. Appreciate you guys. Here is the results. And let me actually get rid of this. Dennis is always reminding me. Turn this thing off and get the screen a little bigger. And actually, let me click on this. Okay, so now it should be pretty visible. All right, so let me give you guys the deets on this. And let me see one more thing. Nope, that didn't help. Let's try this one. I don't know. Okay, so we have 5G Plus here in the upper right-hand corner. If you have AT&T and you want to know if you're connected to the C-band N77, you're looking for the 5G Plus icon up here on the right. This test was taken at 7 p.m. This is Dennis, you would consider this peak time, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because that's I do too, but I know some people say not. It's not. I don't know. Whatever. We got 559 megabits per second on the downlink, 43 megabits per second on the uplink. No loss, 15 millisecond jitter, so it's a little jittery. I'm not a fan of that. The ping time is decent, 18 milliseconds. With 5G SA, those should start to drop. But Dennis, this is a 40 megahertz channel of N77. What do you think of these results?
I think it's very impressive. I think that I'll be curious to see what happens once more people on AT&T actually get on that, because I know AT&T doesn't have a great amount of phones that can actually support their C-band holdings. And I think this just goes to show that regardless of what you think about T-Mobile, they could be doing so much more and so much better with all that spectrum they have on air.
So let's take a look. Actually, I put the deets of the connection because I know what AT&T has on the site.
Before you show me, I'm going to take a oh, I'm closing my eyes.
Oh, okay. So you want to guess? Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that on that site, there's probably band 2. I'm going to
Yes.
guess there's probably 2 10 megahertz versions of it for carrier ag. I'm going to guess that there's probably band 12. I'm going to guess there's also probably band 66 and band 30.
Good guess. You were really, really close, Dennis. Very close. It's 40 megahertz of N77, 20 megahertz of band 2, 20 megahertz of band 66, 10 megahertz of band 14. So we've got 40 on the 5G side, 20, 40, 50 on the LTE side. We got a total of 90 megahertz. That's what we got. And this is a site, ladies and gents, that was just turned on literally today. It was not on yesterday. It wasn't even built a week ago. This site was built in like 2 or 3 days and turned on all in the same week. They did this fast as hell, dude. I can't tell you guys how impressed I am by how fast they did this and actually started broadcasting it. I'm impressed, man.
I am impressed as well. I'm very optimistic about AT&T just deploying it at all, and I hope that they are able to eke out even more performance, considering that with all the carrier ags, they are pushing close to about almost 100 megahertz of spectrum. So hopefully they can eke out maybe about 700, maybe like 700 by like 100. That'd be a pretty good target for them, I think, for peak speeds, and maybe try to sit somewhere around as an average of like 400 meg, I think would be a pretty fair assessment right now until they get the rest, until they get those dual panels for their DoD spectrum that they also acquired.
Yeah, so that's going to be kind of like phase 2. Big shout out to Santiago. Thanks for the super sticker. with the dono, the pair character flying in the air with the red cape and a smile on the face. Thanks, Santiago. Appreciate all the support here on the channel, man. And kind of speaking of what Dennis was saying, the additional 40 megahertz that's going to be coming is going to have to come in on a separate additional modification to the tower site. It's going to need another antenna radio combo, and not that that's that big of a deal. At least in my market, AT&T has no problem climbing towers and upgrading more. I mean, they were just at the site last year when it got the Band 14 upgrades. So they're not bashful to come up there, go up there again. And I'm going to get some pictures. I'll show you guys where they're going to put the next set of antenna and radios. So that's coming.
Well, Sneed,
Yeah.
as you know, I was hanging out with the homie and we were making soup.
Thanks,
soup is
Dennis.
ready.
Appreciate you stopping by, man.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy, bud. Okay, so the what I want to just kind of like add real quick about this site. The upgrade was really fast. Like actually going up and putting up the hardware. And not only that, but also broadcasting it essentially all in the same week. And to answer your question, before I get to this next super chat, Josh, to answer your question, sir, the LTE was, man, let me check the speed test. I think it was like 240 megabits per second, and that's what it's been. So it didn't change the LTE outcome. I'm going to look at the speed test right now for you just to confirm it. Yeah, it was like 200 megabits on the LTE side, 30 on the uplink. Yeah, so that answers your question. It didn't change the LTE outcome at all. It's essentially just, it probably already had a 1 gig circuit. They put up the gear, boom, boom, they fitted everything, and they were on their way. It got tuned and broadcasted within a couple of days. Absolutely. And Josh, that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm going to test all things LTE. I'll continue to test LTE. I still think pound for pound, AT&T's LTE network is one of the best in the country. Overall network experiences. It just, there's a ton of capacity. They do backhaul well. They got lots of spectrum and they upgrade. And the LTE is great. The only better LTE connection in my experience is when Verizon's got CBRS Live. It is the ultimate. And then I think AT&T comes in with their LTE. Big shout out to Pete Fox. Appreciate the super chat. We got another pair character flying in the air with the red cape and a smile on his face. That's a popular one. Big shout out to Santiago and also Pete for the super chats with the flying character with the cape. And this one is from Green, longtime supporter and friend of the show. I've been noticed on my speeds, SA-N41, T-Mobile upload seems to suffer. Why is that happening? So the problem there, Green, is N41 on SA is probably going to be the worst uplink experience you're going to have, and that's because of the mode that it's running. All right, so long story short, when they transition away from the current mode that they're using in SA for N41 and they change it to N7, that whole problem will be a thing of the past. I actually can tell you that once you get away from the site, I'm talking like half a mile, 3/4 mile, if you're on a standalone N41 connection, the uplink is going to be terrible. Even on NSA, the N41 uplink is trash. You really, really want to be on band 2 or band 66 or anything else. It's just not good. When they switch modes and they get it over to N7, I'm talking about TDD, FTD, when that change happens, that this whole problem with the uplink on N41 will be a thing of the past. So hopefully that happens soon. I don't know. Talks of that are at the earliest probably in the next 2 years, I think. They've got to get more spectrum, more N41. They've got the auction to do that and secure that. I don't know. They got a lot of stuff to do. I know a lot of people are happy with the T-Mobile network, but there are things they can definitely improve to make the experience better. This super chat, a very generous one. Thank you, Darrell J. AT&T has updated the sites around my job at Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Portsmouth, Virginia. I have 5G at 30 down, 8 up. Previously, it was 5GE at 3 down, 0.8 up. No C-band. I currently have an iPhone 13 Pro. You, my friend, need that upgrade. Okay, so if they've done the upgrade at that naval shipyard, Is it live? Is it broadcasting? Have you connected to it yet? Because if they've done that upgrade, you're going to see huge improvements. In fact, one could speculate you'll probably see something like what I've shown on the screen. You might even see better because chances are that site is not going to have the amount of traffic that my site has. My site is serving lots of homes. It's very residential. There's businesses. And I don't know. I got to think that, you're probably just not going to have that many people on that site. It's possible. I'm not sure about the network traffic at a naval shipyard. Maybe that is a lot, but they could definitely use those upgrades, I'm sure. Based on those results, man, I'm just glad they updated it for you. And thanks for the super chat. Oh, 5G is live but no C-band? Huh. Well, they're going to need to upgrade that. There's no way they could leave you guys hanging with that little bandwidth, and you guys need the capacity. But yeah, Josh, I agree. They do a nice job of upgrading. Again, I think they've got the most robust uniform capacity in the country. The only company that I think is approaching them, and it's going to come with the C-band build, is going to be Verizon. And I feel like T-Mobile's got a long way to go with their coverage. They've got a blanket capacity. They've done a good job in metros. They've got to really do a better job with suburban. I think that's what we're going to be seeing next year, a little bit of this year. We shall see. Shipyards, especially Portsmouth Yard, has about 10,000 folks on it. Oh, well, there you go. They need more capacity. That would explain why it's probably so congested. Wow. Did not think that there'd be that many people on that network there. Well, I would also wonder, how is Verizon doing there and how is T-Mobile doing there? I mean, unless you got the FirstNet, which you might, and then everybody's taking advantage of that deal and take advantage of the AT&T network. It's very possible. But I do think that upgrades are in order in your area. All right, I'm going to just discontinue the screen share. If anybody wants to send over, and because those were really the only topics I had for you guys. I wanted to discuss the T-Mobile network piece. I wanted to talk about the customer care piece. And then I wanted to share with you guys what we're seeing from AT&T. And be on the lookout for more uploads. There are more AT&T sites that are getting upgraded. Verizon is doing a ton of upgrades. I will tell you guys, I've been tracking the T-Mobile N41 build, and it's kind of slow here now. I haven't really seen many sites get upgraded in several months. So I'm getting the impression that they probably feel like T-Mobile feels like they've done enough in my area. They don't have that much market share. I bet you they're probably going to not do much here for a minute. AT&T and Verizon are probably going to close that gap here this year. And honestly, I think by the end of this year, both Verizon and AT&T will have more mid-band 5G reach than T-Mobile will. It just has to do with market share. I think in places like New York City, in places like San Francisco, Houston, Miami, I think T-Mobile is going to continue to scale out their mid-band just because of market share. They just don't have it here. So I don't expect them to, have the most, capacitive 5G network here beyond this year. I think after this year, it's probably going to be Verizon with AT&T hot on their heels. It's just, that's the market share here, and it's no knock against T-Mobile. I actually understand it from a business standpoint. There's no way you can expect T-Mobile to upgrade a bunch of towers just because they only have 150 megabits per second. Doesn't mean they have to put N41 on there. From a business standpoint, they're probably like, well, we don't have that much capacity need there. Do we really have to do this upgrade right now? Can we wait? That sort of thing. Meanwhile, AT&T is starting to slow down a little bit. They probably want to upgrade. Verizon most definitely has at least approaching 50% market share here. They're going to want to upgrade as many sites as possible. That's why I feel like, at least in my market, Verizon is going to be the 5G mid-band leader. They'll be the mmWave leader. They'll be the CBRS leader. This is their market. These are the types of things they do. In markets where T-Mobile is the leader and they have the market share, you're going to see T-Mobile upgrading the most with N41. And in places where AT&T has the market share, they'll do the same with N77. But what I am really excited about is, and there's two things. Verizon currently has 60 megahertz of N77. That's going to be 160 megahertz once they get the rest of the licenses, at least here in my market. AT&T has 40 megahertz N77. When they clear the DoD spectrum in 3.45 gigahertz, that number is going to jump up to 80 megahertz of C-band. Those are the things I'm excited for. And then T-Mobile, of course, can widen the channels and start to aggregate, and we might see a situation where it's like 100 megahertz of N41 also carrier aggregating with an additional 40 or 60 megahertz of N41. That to me would be very impressive. I'm also excited to see N71 and N41 aggregating here to help boost with range. We'll see what happens there. Big shout out to Anson, and this is a super chat from him. Thank you. When you have LTE bands and 5G bands doing carrier aggregation, is it called 5G carrier aggregation? No, that wouldn't be 5G carrier aggregation. In order for it to be 5G CA, you would have to have two 5G NR bands combined together. So, like, for example, I just gave the one, this would be like T-Mobile with an N71 aggregating with N41 or two N41s. That would be 5G aggregation. Glad that you're learning. Glad that you're here for the ride, learning with us, and appreciate the super chat. And glad to have you here tonight, hanging out with us. All right, we got a comment here from Joe. AT&T needs to get better on Long Island. Verizon has better speeds and coverage. I've heard that before. I think friend of the community here, community member, Greg, speaks to this often. So there's others that agree with you. We got Josh saying 40 megahertz on AT&T is 100 megahertz. So he's basically saying that the equivalent. I think that's just, backhaul type situation. Probably AT&T is frequently the owner of their fiber, and that makes a difference because you can, put bigger capacity circuits to these tower sites. So yeah, it definitely makes a difference. We got this one here from Voltec. Quite excited for N71, N41 for faster upload. Totally agree. I also hope that helps with the range. Like to see that help as well. They got a lot of really rough handoffs over here that I think that could help a little bit. When is T-Mobile going to get rolling on SA5G? That's when the bandwidth will exceed 100 megahertz, right? Well, the one channel can be 100 megahertz, and then you can add a second channel for the additional spectrum. So say it might be like 100 plus 60 or 100 plus 40 or whatever channels they got, right? Oh, snap. We got Mrs. Chanel 808 Life. Yeah, hashtag Sneed Army. That's funny. Yeah, good stuff. That one's coming from Hawaii right there. AT&T here, I'm noticing some towers. The LTE has gotten up above 250 megs. When a month ago, they were always sitting at about 120, Northeast Florida. Well, I will tell you that upgrades are happening, so be on the lookout for that. Rolando, I don't know, man. You're definitely going to need more ham and cheese, dog, on those sites, man. I know. They're going to need to widen those channels, absolutely. David, what up, man? Welcome to the show. He said hashtag telco. Hey, you just missed hashtag telco Jesus. He just left, man. And actually, I wanted to keep this episode short. There's a couple things I got to do, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for sending over the statements, the questions, the super chats. You guys are great. Thanks for the donations and the stickers and all of that. I don't want to just let you guys off, so quickly. Usually we do like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes when we got all the guys. But I just got to get to a lot of things as the year winds down. I got a couple things I got to do. But you guys are the best. If you're just joining us and you want to watch the rest of the show, hashtag replay crew just started it over and watch the rest of it. But you guys are the best. Thank you for supporting. Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more if this is your first time here. And turn on the bells. Yeah, sorry, Lawrence. Sorry, we started early tonight. And I know you're on Hawaii time, so I know things are a little different for you out there. But aloha, man. You guys are the best. We out this piece. Peace.